It's very weird to sit here in silence while the intro.
The Soviet Union itself is no more.
The United States military has begun strikes.
Light them all up.
Считаю, что для современного мира однополярная модель не только неприемлема, но и вообще невозможна.
Need to unmute the screen on StreamYard. Yeah, there you go. It's okay. We are not, our producer is on a train and Chris and I are not technically inclined, so. Yeah.
Thank you very much
So
for
nice
having
we
me.
did it
It's always a
twice.
pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do. I want to start with Pakistan is in Iran today. I saw a huge reception. Looked like they were incredibly happy to see one another. That gives me the vibes that things went well between Iran and Pakistan. They're in Islamabad, so much so that they came again with a very high-level delegation to a very big hug from the foreign minister of Iran. He looked very happy to see him. What can you tell us about this? It looks like very good vibes between the Iranians and the Pakistanis. What impression did the Pakistanis get from the Islamabad talks? I've watched you talk about I don't want to ask you repetitive questions or redundant things. You've told many streams what you thought about the Islamabad talks, but we're carrying them on into today. So what can you tell us with the update?
Well, the Iranian-Pakistan relationship doesn't have anything to do with the Iranian-US situation. And the Pakistani government was very helpful and friendly to the Iranians while the delegation was there. And the Pakistani people were extraordinarily friendly. They basically saw Iranians and Iran as heroes and Iran as heroic. And wherever we went, whoever we spoke to, literally whoever we spoke to, was praising Iran and praising the delegation and praising members of the delegation, even though they didn't know what each person was doing, but they just, out of respect for Iran and how Iran defeated the United States and Israeli Epstein coalition during the war. So the fact that he's come to Iran and that he's so warmly welcomed, it doesn't indicate anything about negotiations. Without a doubt, what Trump said about negotiations tomorrow, and the United States has sent messages to Iran. Iran has not responded. But this allegation, what happens in the next day or so? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we'll have to see what happens in the next couple of days. But with regards to the talks with the United States, they didn't go very well, and that was what we had expected before going to Pakistan, to Islamabad, and on the plane, before at the airport, when we reached the hotel, in conversations that I had with members of the delegation and members of the negotiating team, they didn't think that there was anything serious going to be presented by the Americans that would be acceptable to Iran. And it turned out that they were right. And it seemed that Vance did not have much of a mandate. He kept making phone calls. And he, of course, was surrounded by two Israeli firsters, it was maybe Israeli agents, meaning Witkoff and Kushner. But the Iranian side was willing to go forward. And there was some progress during the day, but in the evening or at night, the United States became more uncooperative. And suddenly, in the middle of the night, Vance said, "I'm leaving." He lied and said that Iran wants to pursue a nuclear weapon, which, as we all know now from Joe Kent's resignation letter, that's not true. And then he said Iran did not fulfill our demands, which of course Iran would obviously not bow to his demands. Iran didn't lose the war. They did. So we'll have to see what happens. The reason why the Iranians went was to show the world and the Iranian people that we are always out there to resolve problems and give Trump an off-ramp if he's really seeking one and if he has the will to take it. But just like before the 12-day war and this recent war where Iranians did negotiate, it wasn't it wasn't because they were naive. That's not true. Iran was at the negotiating table so that the other side will not accuse Iran of being responsible for war because they didn't negotiate. So we are where we are right now. We'll have to see if the American proposal has changed. Because remember, even though there's no fighting except for in Lebanon, which is a clear violation of the ceasefire agreement, and as a result, Iran discontinued the agreement to expand the number of ships that can go through the Strait of Hormuz. Every day, the global economic crisis is getting worse, and we're approaching a cliff, even though there's no shooting except for in Lebanon.
I can hear you fine. Your audio is. I mean, we can all hear you.
I
So
can hear
I'm
you.
not sure.
I don't know. Well, you in case they haven't heard, as you said, the Iranian delegation was roughly 80 people or so, but the American delegation was much larger. It was around 300, and the Iranian delegation was comprised of different teams uh, for economics, for the nuclear issue, and so on. I don't know what the American delegation was there for, but I don't know why they brought 300 people, and then Vance kept having to make phone calls. If you bring all those people and you're the vice president, you should have authority. Just like the Iranian delegation, they had full authority. Before the trip, the Iranian Speaker of Parliament, Dr. Ghalibaf, spoke to Ayatollah Khamenei, Ayatollah Seyed Mujtaba Khamenei, and the framework was made clear, and he did his negotiating. But Vance not only had this huge team, but throughout the day, he was constantly making phone calls, including to Netanyahu. And Netanyahu later said that, yes, Vance calls him and gives him reports. I mean,
Every day.
it's just amazing. Yes, every day. And it's amazing that like this puny regime, this puny colony, its prime minister gets reports from the superpower on a daily basis. So, and you don't hear this in the Western media, but in the American media, but this is, I think, and it just shows the depth to which the Israelis are in control, the extent to which the Israeli regime is in control, and the Zionist lobby is in control of everything in the United States. So Vance has to get permission, and it's obviously because of the Israeli regime and the Israeli and the Zionist lobby that the talks collapsed. That was the reason. Vance had no mandate. Just like the ceasefire between Iran and the United States fell through because of the Zionist regime failing to accept the ceasefire, and the Lebanese prime minister conspiring with Netanyahu and Trump to make sure the ceasefire fell. So the Lebanese prime minister allowing more citizens of Lebanon to be massacred, basically so that he could abate Trump and have his direct talks with Netanyahu and to work towards normalization. I mean, how treacherous can you be? He would have had, without having any political cost, he could have had a ceasefire, because that's what the Americans and the Iranians negotiated. But of course, the Iranians did punish the United States. Iran was supposed to allow more ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz to ease this ongoing crisis, global economic crisis, and Iran said no. Then we're not going to do it as long as there's war going on. So the fact that oil, LNG, fertilizers, petrochemicals, helium, and so on, gasoline are not going through the Strait of Hormuz, this is going to and blockade for the Persian Gulf, he's only intensifying the crisis. Now, whether the Strait of Hormuz is actually closed by the Americans, to what degree it is or not, that's another question. But the Iranians today have warned the Americans that if they continue with the blockade, Iran will shut down the Red Sea, the Gulf of Oman, and the Persian Gulf. So what Trump is basically doing is that he's intensifying the global crisis, and it's going to get worse faster than even before.
I do want to ask you a question about Turkey and your opinions on that. We're getting, obviously, as per usual, mixed messages from Turkey. Obviously, Erdogan will kind of pay lip service to the Palestinians and the sort of anti-Zionist side, but then we see his opposition kind of blast him on the fact that he still supplies them with oil and allows the cargo ships to move through. Today, Turkish people were protesting against an Israeli-bound ship, and the government cracked down on them, hurting quite a few people and arresting them. What does Iran expect from Turkey in this scenario? We've asked other guests about their thought about America dissolving or leaving NATO to kind of open up that corridor for Israel. What do you, Turkey sort of playing both sides as per usual? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, remember, even though I was a part of the delegation, I was there to help with the media, and I'm not a government official. I'm not a government paid. I didn't get paid to go to Islamabad either. They just let me get on the plane. I had a hotel room, spent the day there, and sadly, the Pakistani people, being the friendly people that they are, and for the sake of the Iranian delegation, they did not make their food spicy, and that went against my personal wishes. So I didn't even have the opportunity to have real Pakistani spicy food, which is literally like my favorite. But anyway, and Indian too. I mean, the spicy food of South Asia is something I like. So it's not, I didn't gain anything. I didn't gain anything from this trip. So I'm saying this as an individual. I have no respect for anyone, any leader who does any trade and any business and has any political ties with the Israeli regime. And that's it, basically. And so when you transport oil, when you allow ships to go, I mean, the people of Turkey are like across the world. They despise this Zionist ethno-supremacist regime. But those values of the Turkish people are not reflected in government policy at all. And that has been the case throughout the genocide in Gaza, and now the ongoing genocide in Lebanon. And what Erdogan did in Syria was to the benefit of Netanyahu. And he helped destroy the government within the framework of Operation Timber Sycamore that Obama initiated. And that has weakened the resistance, obviously. So yeah, I that's just there's nothing sincere about the governments in the region except for the axis of resistance. I mean, Qatar has Al Jazeera, but Al Jazeera is not a real friend of the Palestinian people. It just does propaganda, and it has good people in it. There are very good people in Al Jazeera. They've had people have been martyred in Gaza, and but at the top, at the end of the day, this is just a proxy regime that obeys the United States. And Qatar, it's where CENTCOM is based, and it's the forward operational center of CENTCOM. And they use Qatar to bomb Yemen. They use it to bomb Syria. They use it to Qatar has played nothing but a largely destructive role in our region, just like everyone else. So the people across the region and the people across the world, their sentiments towards the Palestinian people and Zionism are clear. The Israeli regime is the most despised regime on this planet. But sadly, Erdogan, he's assisted the Israeli regime during these last 2.5 years.
I can hear you guys. You're fine, yeah.
I can hear you.
If I need to repeat your question, I will, but go ahead, Chris.
Well, first of all, this entire narrative of Iran being a rogue regime that's been ongoing for 47 years, and the Western media, Western think tanks, these Arab family dictatorships and their media, they've all been promoting this for so many years. And many people across the world believed it because Iran does not have a very powerful media, and it is all sanctioned anyway. So, but this is collapsing. And this narrative has fallen apart. And across the world, you see people supporting Iran. And they no longer believe these fake narratives because the people who keep saying how evil Iran is, how it violates human rights, how it's against women, how it kills people, how it promotes terrorism, and all the nonsense that you hear from the West, people say, well, Iran is the only country alongside the Axis of Resistance that's supporting the Palestinian people, and the West is supporting the genocide. So there's something wrong here. And by the way, there's a very good book, and I've said this a few places on a few programs during the past couple of weeks, called Going to Tehran by Flint and Hillary Levitt, and it deals with the history of the U.S.-Iranian relationship and many of the narratives, the fake narratives that Western think tanks and media have promoted about Iran. I would advise everyone to read this book, and they would better understand really what's going on. If they and the two people who wrote it, they worked in the White House. They're not like these obscure academics, both highly educated academics, but they both worked under Condoleezza Rice. And Flint Leverett was resigned because of the Iraq War. So principled person. So if you can also promote it in your channel, I think it would be a nice gesture to
Absolutely.
these two people. But I think anyone who reads the book will learn a lot. But the reason why Iran negotiates is for two reasons, basically. And this is true about the 12-day war and about the beginning of this war too. Some people say Iran was naive and they were fooled by the Americans. That's not the case. Before the 12-day war, Iran negotiated, but Iran also knew that the Americans were going to attack. And I knew that the Americans were going to attack because some of my own friends in the United States who had some, who would hear chatter, told me so. And when I would tell people in Iran, they all already knew. The military here, they have their own means. The diplomats, the government has the intelligence services. They have their own means of figuring these things out. But Iran negotiated back then for two reasons. One is to see if there is a solution, even though it was highly unlikely that the United States was serious about seeking a solution. The second is to tell the world and the Iranian public that we are trying to solve the problem. Because when the United States attacks, the first thing that Western media will do is say, well, if the Iranians had only negotiated, we wouldn't have had to slaughter all these Iranians. They would have been blaming the victim, as they do in Lebanon, as they do in Gaza, as they do wherever else they slaughter people. And that's true for this Ramadan, the Ramadan war, this 40-day war that we just went through. Iran knew that the Americans planned to attack. You don't bring in all this military hardware to just then go home. But they did it for the same reasons. And then the reason why they're doing it now is the exact same thing, because they want the world to know that we're the responsible actors. But also, if Trump seeks if he has the courage, because apparently he is seeking an off-ramp from what we're hearing from all the, from different sources, but he doesn't have the courage to take that off-ramp because of the Zionist lobby and the Israeli regime. Again, going back to Joe Kent and his resignation letter, it's clear who is in charge and who dictates terms. Tucker Carlson just recently called Trump a slave. Doesn't absolve him of responsibility. Now, why is he a slave? That's an open question. Different things come to mind, but that all of this has helped Iran, and that's why the world is behind Iran. That's and people are happy that in Iran there are lots of people are staunch supporters of the war, but there's also some people who say, well, can we find a solution? And when the Iranian government shows that they've tried, then these people come on board. So I think it's a smart move, but it's not as if Iran has no principles. Some would say, well, the United States initially they said unconditional surrender, and they had to evolve and ultimately accept Iran's 10-point plan. That's why the negotiation started. So effectively, the U.S. accepted defeat, even though Trump doesn't say it that way. And also, his spokeswoman said, we just threw that 10-point plan out of the window, but he did accept it as the framework. And so Iran, when it began the negotiations, and Lebanon was included, as the Pakistani Prime Minister said explicitly on multiple occasions. And the Americans said no. Why? Again, because of Netanyahu and the Lebanese prime minister who was conspiring against his own people. But I mean, a traitor in my book. But so people may say, well, why didn't Iran do anything about it? Well, Iran does do things. I mean, Iran has been supporting Gaza. It's the only supporter of Gaza militarily and the Palestinian people, and it continues to support Lebanon. But also, as I said, Iran refrained from allowing more ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. And people may think, well, so what? This is a big deal. Every single day that goes by, we are approaching the cliff. The global economy is in serious danger. Right now, the fact that you have shortages here and there and the price of gasoline has gone up, people think, well, that's it. No, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The Americans know this. The Europeans know this. The West knows this. And so a lot of pressure is building up for Trump. That's why Trump is in a rush to continue the negotiations. We did not ask for new negotiations. Trump says Iran is talking to us. It's clear who is sending the message. It's Trump who's sending the messages. We're not going to talk tomorrow. He said Friday. We're not going to talk tomorrow. But if we do talk, our expectations are what they've always been, that Iran's sovereignty be respected, compensation has to be provided, given in one form or another. Someone will have to pay. And Iran's allies across the region will have to have security. For Iran, that's a red line. So the biggest part of this war is not Iran's missiles or drones. It's not U.S. and Israeli regime jets. It is the Strait of Hormuz. And the fact that it has been shut down, and the Americans have even made it worse now, the fact that it has been shut down is pushing the world towards the abyss. Not something that we want, but these Arab family dictatorships, they are complicit in the war. Iran has to punish them. The United States and the Israeli regime launched the war. Iran is punishing them. The only way to force them to stop slaughtering children, whether Iranian or Lebanese or Palestinian, is through using the Strait of Hormuz and putting pressure on the United States and making the international community put pressure on the United States, because the international community knows who is responsible, who started the war, who wrecked the ceasefire, and who wrecked the negotiations. Netanyahu, and Netanyahu. So, for example, India, which under Modi has been close to Netanyahu, sadly, they're suffering, and Netanyahu doesn't care. And I think all of this is turning the world even more against the Israeli regime than before. They're despised because of the genocide, but now people are going to see their own personal suffering as a result of Zionism and Netanyahu and, of course, Trump, their policies.
Speaking of having other world leaders on a leash, the UAE, under what I think was the Americans' request, went to China to sort of beg for a reprieve or some sort of release, but China rebuked them immediately. How much closer has Iran and China gotten through this? We've seen China sort of sit back and say, you won't threaten us. We will give whomever we want to give weapons to, and we will go through the strait. What can you tell us about the relations between China and Iran, and what have you guys said about the visit from the UAE to China as well?
Well, let me put it this way. I was not surprised by the results of the war, the Ramadan war. I was not surprised by the results of the 12-day war. And anyone who's been listening to me over the years, I've said that if the United States attacks Iran, that Iran would destroy its assets in the Persian Gulf. I've said this maybe for a decade now. I think once it actually went viral many years ago, I said this on Press TV. And back then I had I didn't have any white hair, so it was a very long time ago. I don't know where that video is. It was obvious. It was clear as day what Iran would do. And anyone who thought Iran would do otherwise, it just shows that they know nothing about Iran. But many were surprised that Iran not just was able to remain standing, but that it would actually win the war and defeat this combined evil force of the Trump regime, the Netanyahu regime, their regional proxies in the Persian Gulf, and the fact that the Republic of Azerbaijan and the regime there and Turkey's government, all of them were basically, like in Turkey, NATO, their AWACS jets were flying over gathering intelligence from Iran, and U.S. bases were gathering intelligence as well. So some were more indirectly on the other side, some were directly on the other side. And of course, Western countries were all imposing maximum pressure sanctions, even if they didn't have troops on the ground and their bases were being used by the United States. So Iran won the war against this huge coalition. This surprised everyone. I mean, it shouldn't have if they had been listening to us. It was clear as day. I mean, when the war began and this massive attack against Iran, there was no run on the supermarkets or on to buying bread or any goods, or there was no run on gas stations on the Turkish border. Many TV stations went to film Iranians escaping the country, and what happened was that Iranians were returning to Iran. People wanted to go home. There were no refugees. It was a reverse movement of people into Iran, and they were stunned. And if people comprehended Iranian culture, Iranian society, Iranian religious beliefs, the culture of Ashura, as we call it, of Imam Hussein and his sister Zainab, and what happened in Karbala and the resistance against the press and the sacrifices, which is huge in Iranian culture and society. If anyone comes on the day of Ashura or the day before on Tasu'a and visits the country while they are commemorating the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, the grandson of the Holy Prophet, they would understand where this resilience comes from. A nation with thousands of years of heritage as well, being attacked by a colony and a country that's been around for a couple of hundred years, a bit more, a bit less, who cares? But if they comprehended this, then they wouldn't have attacked in the first place, and other countries wouldn't have been shocked. But the Chinese, from what my Chinese friends have been telling me over the past few weeks, is that their attitudes towards Iran have shifted dramatically, and they have a huge amount of respect for what Iran has achieved, and the same is true elsewhere. But the Iranian-Chinese relationship is very good. It should get better. The relationship grew slowly during the Rouhani administration. Sadly, we didn't push for better relations. The Rouhani administration was seeking rapprochement with the West, so they neglected relations with China. But after that, under President Raisi, Dr. Larijani in particular, as Speaker of Parliament, they worked very hard to improve relations, and so did friends in China. And of course, the relationship with Russia today has evolved completely. So the world is, the world has witnessed what has happened, and that is going to have long-term implications. And of course, from now on, Iran is going to control the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't matter if the Americans like it or not, and that is going to have a huge impact on the future of our region.
One last question before we let you go, and then we'll switch over to StreamYard and our viewers can finally hear Chris's beautiful voice. The ceasefire ends in 6 days. So where do we go from here? Everybody's not Iran. All the others are sort of scrambling to try to get this ceasefire to hold or some sort of peace. And I don't mean to be a black pill. I know that Iran's goal is an lasting peace, something that holds. And I just don't foresee that being worked out in the next 6 days. So what do you think happens after these 6 days? Or do hostilities begin prior to that, as we see Lebanon is ramping up or Israel is ramping up in southern Lebanon?
And this goes. This is sort of linked to what Christopher asked earlier, and I forgot to respond. So I'll combine. I'll combine the. Even though I heard him, I'll combine the two questions, and I'll put it this way: that this is the same thing that. This is something that people after the 12-day war were asking. They were saying, why is it that Iran, they had the upper hand and they accepted a ceasefire? Even though, during the 12-day war, it was a blitzkrieg attack. They murdered people, and then Iran, after a few days, turned the tide. And after 8 days or so, Netanyahu was begging for a ceasefire, and finally, after 12 days, Iran accepted a halt in hostilities. Why did Iran do that? Well, Iran did that because Iran knew that if the war continued, the Americans would enter the fray. And Iran learned from those 12 days that it had a lot of work to do, and it had to rethink many of its military strategy. It had to rethink its military strategy, but also it had to rethink how to protect itself, its assets, military, non-military, in case of war. So they accepted the ceasefire, and for 8 months they worked day and night, and you see the results. Iranians performed better in this war than during the 12-day war, even though the firepower was much greater. I mean, the Israeli regime on its own would be defeated by the Iranians hands down. But the United States is the global superpower, and all those assets in the Persian Gulf and those regimes there were assisting it and financing the war too. The Qatar and the Emirates and the Saudi Arabia in particular, especially Saudi Arabia and the Emirates, they were paying a lot of money to help the war effort, the aggression. They have lots of blood on their hands. But in any case, the Iranians, they performed much better. This ceasefire, true, there are planes coming in with all sorts of troops and weapons for the Israeli regime, for the Trump regime's forces. But Iran is not, the Iranian military, they're not on vacation. They are also preparing. But time is on our side. Why? Because the Strait of Hormuz is closed. So while there's no fighting, both sides are preparing themselves, but the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. And that means that every hour that goes by, more pressure is put on the aggressor. Lebanon, of course, is a huge, it's really painful for us. I lived in, my friends are there, and it hurts me every day to see the massacre. And I hope people try to immediately revive the anti-genocide protests that were last year, that became so big and had forced the United States to bring that fake ceasefire in Gaza. We should have people much more active right now, day and night, to do what they can to expose the Zionist regime for what it is, and the Trump regime for what it is. And hopefully, online and on the streets, people will be more active. And Iran will, I'm sure, the fact that the Iranian military said we're going to shut down the Red Sea, I think is an indication that Iran is prepared to take further steps. But in the meantime, the pressure on the US is increasing because of the Strait of Hormuz. And if Iran shuts down the Red Sea, it's going to increase even further. That means pressure on the Israeli regime too. Because remember, at the end of the day, true, the owners of Washington are the Zionists and the Israeli regime. That if things get very bad, all these corrupt people, many of them will choose their own selfish interests rather than to make sacrifices for some disgusting ethno-supremacist ideology that considers others to be subhuman. So, the road ahead is going to be difficult, and there are going to be difficult times for everyone. But remember, Iran is the only country, along with its regional allies, that are standing up to these people, and hopefully more people will become engaged, and more people will become active, and more pressure will be put on this evil empire, and they will basically, the broader resistance and the axis of resistance together will help bring about change for the better.
Chris, do you want to talk anyways? Do you look like you wanted to say something?
Let me see if this will. I think people can hear me now, actually. But I want to say thank you so much for really joining us. And I know that you are very busy these days, and I know that there's a lot going on. We hope that in the coming weeks we can have you on again. We know you're doing a lot, and I'm sure you're not getting much sleep. I saw you in Moscow months ago. You still weren't getting sleep before this Ramadan war. So I can only imagine now. But thank you again. Thank you again for coming on and for all the work you are doing, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yes, thank you, Professor.
Thank
and we
you.
will talk soon for sure.
Thank you both for having me. And also, I think it'll be good if everyone reads that Going to Tehran, and also purchase it for friends. I think it's an eye opener. It would be an eye opener for many. And if, as I said, if the U.S. experts had listened to these two former senior officials and academics, we wouldn't be where we are today.
We will put the link in the description. Thank you again,
We
Professor.
will. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you.
Guys, we'll switch over to
Thank
StreamYard.
you.
Just take a look at this ad for now, and we'll see you guys in a second. Thanks again, Professor.
Thank you.
All right. There you go. You can hang up. There we
We're
go.
back. We're
Hi,
back.
guys. Sorry about
You
now. We can't hear you again.
Sick people. Everybody's like, what's going on with this
I
audio?
can't hear you. But anyway, hi guys. Thanks for
Wait, you can't hear me still?
I can't hear you. Leave and come back. Guys, thanks for watching so much. I wanted to ask you guys why while we have you here. Can I hear you now?
Can you hear me?
It's actually me. I have my tab muted.
Lord have
Okay,
mercy.
there we go.
There's literally
guys,
like 4 applications running simultaneously,
I
and I'm
know,
trying to
yeah.
like coordinate between all of them. So now it's working. There you go. You can
guys,
hear me now.
sorry, Our
Yeah.
producer went to Budapest for the elections, and he would have been back if we had our show at the normal time, but Professor Marandi had an Al Mayadeen interview at that time, so we had to do earlier. So Chris and I are boomers when it comes to like streaming and like technical stuff. Yes, you are. You are not
I
technical.
am not a boomer.
You are
This
not technical.
I am
I think
technical.
I have a stream share or to like screen share on this thing half the time. But I do want to ask you guys. Also, I want to play with this widgets thing. Let's see if this works.
What widgets?
On the right, what time?
I know, but what are we gonna play with? Like a poll?
Yeah, I want to ask them. Because all right, the reason why our show is at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, is because of George Galloway. So, hold on, these are going to be Eastern times.
Wait, are we putting out new times that we could possibly do a show?
Yeah, because I kind of like going before George, and it's always so late for you. You're tired.
No, it's okay with me.
This might be too early.
Don't kill my time schedule now.
That's what I'm saying. Do you like it? Do you like the late show?
Yeah, I love it actually.
Okay. Because
love it.
I kind of like. I was thinking of maybe 2 hours earlier, but all right.
But if you do that on Sunday, I mean, we're talking about like 2 p.m. I don't know how many people are going to show up for that.
Yeah, but yeah, true.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
You guys like this time slot after George?
I think the time slot after George is great.
No, I won't get better at it. I've been working on this I've been using StreamYard for 2 or 3 years. I will not get better at it. This is as good as it's going to get. Do we have any super chats? Oh yeah, thank you, Will. And we will pass any of these messages on to. Oh, I'll pass this on to him, Candace. As an American, I admire your nation's righteous handling of this war, honest, dignified, and pleasing to God. Congratulations on your victory in both the media war and the battlefront. What a beautiful message. I will definitely pass that on. And then you gave us more money. There are people all over the world supporting and rooting for you. Please keep the fun. Everybody loves Arakchi now. We keep him in a protected bunker with love and deep respect. Candace, I'll pass these messages on because I love you so much and because Professor, they're beautiful messages. And I will pass this on as well. As an American, I have been so starved of honor and integrity and basic kindness from our leaders. I know I speak for many when I say that I am in awe of Iran. Wow, these are really beautiful messages from Americans. Very nice to see. Guys, again, do you like the time slot? What was the name of the book again? I don't remember. What was the name
I
of the
have
book
it here.
again?
Hold on. I can give it to you. Hold on. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on.
Okay, because the cradle comes on before George. Okay, so that's kind of like your lineup. The cradle, then George, and then us. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Hold on.
I do want to play with this widget though. Let's see if it works.
Hold on. Yes, it's here. I got it. This is on Amazon.
Who is in control, Israel or the USA?
Here.
Guys, can you see this poll? Oh my God, can you guys vote in this? See if you can vote in this.
This is
Type 1 or 2 in chat. What?
This is the book title.
Oh my God, it worked! Do you see?
It worked.
Yeah, if you guys, yeah, look. You guys
wow.
can do polls
Wait,
now.
can I vote too?
Yeah, I voted.
Oh yeah?
People type 3. Thanks for following directions.
Is it still working?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh,
there goes somebody put a 2. Yeah, look, it's working.
It's working.
Oh, I love this little poll thing. This is dope. It gets you guys to type in the chat, which helps boost the stream, and it works.
Wow.
I love this. The question, it's blocked. What do you mean it's blocked?
Blocked?
What are the choices? It says, who is in control? 1, Israel, 2, USA. Type 1 or 2 in the chat.
I'm going to put number 3, Epstein, Satan Ball.
Epstein, ghost of Epstein and Sheldon Adelson. If Epstein's even dead. Oh, there's our, you guys can't see the poll?
Some people hear me, some people don't. Some people see the poll, some people don't. I'm going to blame this on the Epstein regime.
It's so small.
It is a bit small.
I'm moving it around. Can you guys see it?
Oh my God, what are you doing? It's like a Ouija board. What are you throwing it around everywhere, you know?
I want to see if it works.
It's on your side. I don't think I can change it. I can't.
Dr. O, like Dr. Oz? Like, what do you mean you're going back to Dr. O? Like, who is Dr. O?
Look, yeah, you can do that. Wow.
These poor people are coming to see. We're like we're on ketamine. We're like the streamers wow. Speaking of streamers on ketamine, did you see a streamer overdose last night on stream?
I did not see that. I've been at this election conference all day with the Central Election Commission here in Russia.
Oh yeah, guys. Chris skipped a booze cruise. Not really. Just
no, really. I skipped the
booze cruise with the Russian Duma to be here, and we couldn't even hear him.
It's okay. It's okay. There'll be more, of course, always. But in any case, I'm with you all. There we go in the chat. Pakistan Zindabad.
Was it Hassan Piker? No, I don't think Hassan does drugs. Does he?
He said he did in the past. I don't know if he still does them, but
I don't really watch his stuff.
Everyone, boomer alarm. What a bunch of what boomers are you talking about here?
I'm actually a millennial, but I love avocado.
Yeah, no, what boomers? Are you kidding me? I'm a drone pilot, by the way.
Oh my God, did you get certified? I'm a certified forklift driver.
No, I'm a certified. I graduated. I have a certificate in UAS and UAV, all that stuff.
Serious. I'm a certified forklift driver.
Yeah. I do. I can do drone stuff for agriculture, for archaeology, LiDAR, all that stuff, and also for other things. On
the front. All right.
There we go.
But I won't keep you anymore unless you want to hang out. You guys,
no, we can hang out. What do we have? Listen, let's put this up here. I don't have
any assets because the producer quit his job this weekend because he's
upset. This is what we're talking about here.
He's upset that Orban lost.
This is it. This is it. I mean, I hope everybody understands. This is the key.
I watched this thing. So have you heard? I messaged you the link. I don't know. Probably our American people might have heard of him. This Brillium guy on YouTube. Brillium, really popular. Doesn't have very many videos. He's kind of just sort of came out. But he had posted really interesting videos about like Chabad and then another one about Kabbalah. But he posted a video recently about Orban. And it really blew my mind that they're okay. So we have really interesting pockets of Jews in the United States. Our Jewish, I don't even mean it in an anti-Semitic way. I mean it like their nationalities, their ethnicities, right? So where you have the Ukrainian Jews, they'll be very communicative with the Ukrainians. Like they have, so that's how. So in Cleveland and around Ohio, that's where our large concentration of Hungarian Jews. And I didn't know this. I don't know where the Hungarian.
That's the Ohio connection.
Leslie Wexner. Oh wow. So I get to this point where it's like I didn't want to be excited for Orban to get out of office because I hate Magyar. I hate him. He's so smarmy and gross. Like he reminds me of the Hungarian Gavin Newsom.
He is like the Hungarian Gavin Newsom, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, good. The producer is letting us view his legs and crotch as he sits in the train on the way back to the to Slovenia. But anyway, but yeah, so apparently there's a huge amount of like money laundering, Israeli money laundering, and all kinds of stuff that was going through this Hungarian Ohio connection. And I had no idea because I know that our Ukrainian Jews also live in the Midwest, but mostly some in Ohio, but in like Minnesota, Michigan, and in Indiana area. But I guess and that's why they have this insane technocratic city. It's actually becoming larger than a city in Ohio, where Leslie Wexner has sort of taken over. I talked to somebody in Ohio and they basically said, he's running for governor of Ohio, this guy, Casey. We should have him on, actually. He's fantastic. But he's running against
in which party? Green Party?
He's running Republican. He's trying to primary Vivek.
Oh, okay.
They're running primary against each other. But Vivek is very sponsored by Les Wexner.
Really?
And that clan. So it's a very interesting connection. So
and of course, Wexner and
Epstein.
Yeah, big time. Les Wexner's entry in my black book was a prominent one.
So it's interesting because a lot of the people, even people that supported Orban were like, he was just so corrupt and he had been in office for so long. And now we're seeing these connections and businesses that he sort of established. Also finding out that we all knew, thank you, Casey pushed, beer hall, push, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't speak German. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought, but they kept citing how corrupt he was. Now we're finding out all of these sort of weird little business ties he had with the Israelis and these sort of Hungarian Jews in Ohio, and they have a tremendous amount of power.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. By the way, somebody asked I think it's Eva asked in the chat about if I heard what happened in CD. I think that what she's referring to is a bunch of Israelis attacked Greeks wearing pro-Palestine T-shirts
in Greece.
And then the Greek sort of like like left-wing community, made up of who knows, they're anarchists, anti-authoritarians, also communists.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Started to wear Palestine shirts everywhere. So there was like a huge picture I saw of 100 people with Palestine shirts just walking around central Athens. So
guys, we have Palestine shirts.
Gallery. Yeah, there was a gallery. There was a gallery set on fire. There was a gallery set on fire that said this is a genocide free zone, or like this, we don't accept any genocide here, something to that effect. I don't remember the exact phraseology. And they set the gallery on fire. It was the only one in the neighborhood that had that.
Guys, we have Palestine and support Iran stuff on our site. We'll make more because now I'm like,
they're everywhere. Yeah. In fact, there was a very prominent Israeli who went to Greece with his family and then was shocked at all the pro-Palestine stuff and said, "I'm never going back." And I was like, "Yes, don't come back. We don't want you."
We also have Georgia Maloney, who came out against Trump, and now she is ending their agreement with Israel.
Yep.
So things are falling apart. The T-shirt is this T-shirt. Oh, I don't even know it. People can barely even speak English. All right, guys. Professor Marandi is not on the show anymore, but Iran stopped targeting Israel right now in good faith to have the talks. But I don't know what you guys want them to do. Iran can't just bomb Israel because they're bombing Hezbollah while Lebanon is having talks with Israel. Like, they can't do that. That's like when people say, why didn't Russia invade Nagorno-Karabakh and give it back to Armenia? They can't, because the country is literally engaged in like that diplomatic dialogue.
And
Like,
not only that, but it would totally violate all of the principles that they've been claiming about,
Literally, it would
you
be
know.
like, we want our sovereignty while we take away what little of Lebanon's they have, just because our opinion. You know what I mean? Like, they can't do that.
That's the same reason why Abkhazia and South Ossetia are not part of the Russian Federation. They can't cross that line. They're independent nations, but they can't cross that line. People are like, why doesn't Russia have immediately annex Prednistrovy? Like, what do you want it to do? How is it supposed to work?
I think people need to be more realistic and kind of understand how realpolitik works. And
Yes.
They do understand that time is of the essence, because even Professor Marandi, we're already calling it, and should continue to call it, a genocide in Lebanon. I'm calling it ethnic cleansing and genocide for good reason. So
I do hate the fact that Israelis have a flag that's blue and white because the Greek flag is blue and white. But I also want to say that the Greek flag is from the 1820s and 30s, and the Israeli flag is from 1940s. So fuck them,
Oh, yeah. Well, I usually say a good rule of thumb. There's the producer making fun of us. A good rule of thumb is any state with a blue and yellow or blue and white, or not including Greece, but any state with a blue and yellow or blue and white flag is a fake state and is probably your enemy. So like Kosovo, Ukraine, Israel, Rwanda ain't that great.
What?
Argentina.
Argentina.
So
by the way, what's going on with Milei?
Sweden, correct? Yes, Sweden.
Sweden too. I have to say, Sweden has more justification. I mean, it's been
Estonia.
Estonia, no, yeah, Estonia.
El Salvador. We really don't like them right now. Oh, what's going on with Argentina? It's interesting because we have what the media says, and then we have what we're being told. So the media tells us that Argentina is booming, and everybody that I talk to on the ground says they're broke. Same thing with Venezuela.
But is it true? Is it true that this is boom? It can be true because we hear
on paper it is. On paper it is. So is Venezuela.
Wow.
Because on paper we're booming too, right?
I don't see any boom.
No, we're not.
I only see bust.
Booms, but we see booms, but not the kind.
Yeah, I see other kinds of booms, but not the economic boom.
Quran. It's a great book. The Quran is a great book. I've read it many, many times, and I'm Christian as well. So read your Qurans, I guess. Read your Bibles too, but read your Qurans. Read all your books. What are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now? I'm reading. I'm doing a research project right now about Zionism and Greek Orthodox Christianity. So I'm reading a book called The Antichrist, which is a book written in the 1960s by Archimandrite in Greece about the international conspiracy of Zionism and Freemasonry, and how that will usher in the Antichrist. My grandmother actually loved this book, and her colleagues used to read it to her. But I'm using it to kind of buttress the fact that Orthodox Christians have always been ruthlessly critical of Zionism, and I have like old papers from like Greek Orthodox periodicals from the 1920s and 30s that talk about the international Zionist conspiracy.
Well, that's why they had to destroy Orthodox Christianity.
Oh, that's what they're actively trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Ukrainians?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at them.
From Afanassiev. So I'm reading that. And
is it only in Greek, or is there an English translation?
No, it's all in Greek. It's all in Greek, and it's more or less Katharevousa Greek, so it's even more difficult for people. But I will have this article out, I hope, in the next few months, and we will post it on DDG. And it's from an academic journal, but it'll be a great one. So get ready for that.
Thank you for the sticker, Romanov.
Professor Jang is not a professor, but I have been a professor, an actual professor at a university with the actual title. So
you guys want to do the Reading Rabo segment again? We used to do that in the beginning of the show. We used to show you what we were reading. I'm reading Blood and Oil right now. It's about Saudis. God, these people are crazy. And this is a more mainstream book, like a New York Times bestseller type book. So it's a little bit more shit libby. So it's probably even less extreme than what they are. These people are nuts. These Saudis.
That's so.
They're crazy. They are crazy. And even the way that they're like families and the clans, it's all just insane. And it's just so interesting to me that like we talk about like, oh, we're going to bomb Iran to the Stone Ages, and Iran is structurally very advanced. Like if you talk about politically and structurally, their Mosaic doctrine is unfathomable for most brains. And the Saudis are still like these Bedouin, tribal, like literal, like backward savages. I shouldn't say that. They're not savages, but they're like quite backwards. And even like their politics and the way that they're structured and the way that they act within those systems is very antiquated.
Are people still saying that that people can't hear me?
One person.
Well, unless they started the stream late.
Maybe unplug it and plug it back in. Did it work? Audio is fine. See?
Hello.
Yeah. All right. Well,
can you hear me?
Chris, are you streaming today? You might as well.
Yes, I'm going to stream later on tonight. I'll stream in about like 3 hours or so.
Okay. Well, all right. I'm going to go read my book about crazy Saudis. Hi, Twitch. Guys, do you watch this guy? There's this guy on Twitter. Or how come we're not on? Oh, there's this guy on YouTube. I mean, he's called Agenda Free TV. If you guys don't watch this guy, he's like my favorite guy on YouTube. He's this like, he's probably in his 40s or 50s, but he's so autistic, but he's the sweetest guy. And he gets the news before anybody. And he always has it like first. And so I just use him. He's sort of like my cheat sheet. So if you guys aren't watching, watch him when you're not watching us. Agenda Free TV. It's awesome.
Agenda Free TV.
He's a narcissistic witch. Me? I'm not very narcissistic. I'm pretty self-deprecating. You guys are
You remember the classic, actually, the Greeks in the crowd would like this because I spray painted this on a wall in Athens back in 2015. I said, burn the rich, not the witch.
Do you know why they did burn those witches? Those witches were noticers.
Yeah, of course. That's why they did it.
They were pointing out a lot of corruption and a lot
Listen, when I read, okay, we can have whatever criticism we want of Silvia Federici, but when I read Caliban the Witch, I thought to myself in my younger years, wow. These witches were onto something.
Yeah, they were noticing. They were noticing quite a bit. That's another. We'll do that one time. Maybe I'll do a space on the witches who noticed. That's why I always notice.
What did they notice?
The lips will be like, "We are the witches, or we are the granddaughters of the witches you didn't burn." I'm like, "You're a liberal. What are you talking about?" The people that burned witches were like revolutionary. Like the witches were revolutionaries. Anyway,
that's true.
I think that's probably an angry Nigerian. See, the Nigerians are angry at me right now because I told them that I posted and said that Trump was eyeing their oil, and I had like, I don't know why, but the post went viral. It was like 40,000 likes on it, like the dumbest post go viral. And all these Nigerians are underneath going, "We want him to come. We want him to bomb us. We want him to come." And I'm like, okay, you can have them. So it might be a Nigerian that's mad at me and that's in the chat now saying that I'm a narcissistic.
Well, what kind of Nigerian? There's House of Fulani.
I don't know.
Igbo, there's Yoruba.
We have speaking of Nigerians, guys. This is part one, but we have a fantastic Nigerian writer. I'm trying to launch DDG Africa. We have Nigeria and Uganda covered. If you are in Africa or if you are African diaspora, the producers. The producer. If you guys are in Africa or in the diaspora, and you want to write or you want to do content focused on Africa, please get in touch with us. I'd really love to build up something very Africa focused. And the Juju's writing is just incredible. So if you guys have a chance, head on over to Substack. That's part one. Part two came out yesterday. So we are writing, we are moving. Chris is probably going on a trip soon. Producer's on his way back from moving.
Yes.
So we will
get ready.
If I was. Oh, thank you. Okay. My Nigerian prince is in the chat, but his name's Ivan. His name's Ivan, and he lives in Bulgaria.
Well, hey, you know.
It sounds more trustworthy than an actual Nigerian prince, though.
Yeah, it could be. You remember Coming to America? That was a great film.
Yeah.
That was an African prince. Where was he from? Like,
Oh, you should get in touch with Mickey. He's renovating a Masonic temple. It's so weird. He's doing like all these back rooms and stuff. They asked them to come do renovations. And
really?
Yeah.
Install some cameras.
Yeah. They showed him the hidden rooms. All right. We'll let you go get ready for your stream. I'll go jump back into space and make you guys laugh or go read my book. But other than that, we will see you guys on Sunday. Depending on what happens, we'll try to get a guest and maybe Chris will be on the road. We don't know yet. But other than that, you guys take care, enjoy your hump day and the rest of your week, and head on over to George in 50 minutes. Or watch the cradle and head over to George.
Yes.
God, I've got pics of everything. You're not supposed to be taking pics inside. You're gonna get a curse. You're gonna get cursed.
Be careful.
Taking pics inside the Masonic
Are we doing
temple.
super chats or we did them all?
We did them all. We have some stickers. Thank you, Roman, again. Roman gave us lots of stickers, and I read you that one. I'm a boomer who doesn't watch MSM, only independent media. We love our boomers that watch independent media.
Independent only.
And I give Chris coordinates to my mortgage holder. All right. If you're going to give Chris requests, send them to the email or do them on Telegram and encrypted chat.
Yes, secret chat, please. Thank you.
19% though, we'll do these again. This will be more fun. We'll do them again on other episodes, but 19% say Israel is in control. 81% say, or USA is in control. 81% say Israel is in control.
And that's 39 people saying Israel and 9 saying USA. So that's out of the total pool.
I should have
48 people.
I should have put a 3 word neither. So I don't think that either of them are in charge. I think they're just hanging out, doing their thing. Yep, creating chaos. All right, guys. Enjoy your Wednesday. You'll see Chris again in a few hours.
Yes.
Talk soon.
Take care, everybody.